ಆಕಾಶವಾಣಿ ಧಾರವಾಡ 4 ತಂತಿಗೆ ಚಿನ್ನದ ಹಬ್ಬ. ವರಕವಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ದ.ರಾ. ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನಪೀಠ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕ 50ನೇ ವರ್ಷದ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ 1974 ಏಪ್ರಿಲ್ 12ನೇ ತಾರೀಕಿನಂದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ದ.ರಾ. ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರೊಂದಿಗೆ ಶಂಕರ್ ಮೊಕಾಶಿ ಪುಣೇಕರ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಸಿದ ಸಂದರ್ಶನವನ್ನ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
We now bring you a special interview with Dr. D.R. Bendre, winner of Bharatiya Jnanapitha Award for 1973. The interviewer is Dr. Shankar Mokashi Punekar. Dr. D.R. Bendre, one of the makers of modern Kannada poetry, shares with Mr. Gopinath Mohanty the coveted Jnanapitha Award for 1973. This is the second time that a distinguished Kannada poet received this award, the first one being Dr. K.V. Puttappa for his epic Ramayana Darshana. When the news was announced on the All India Radio, there was general jubilation all over Karnataka. Dr. Bendre, whose pen name Ambika Tanayadatta is a household word, is primarily a lyric poet. His award-winning work, Naku Tanti or Four Strings, is a slim volume of 44 poems. Besides this, Dr. Bendre has published 24 more collections of verse, 3 plays, 9 volumes of critical and research papers, and 3 books in Marathi. Besides being an award winner, he was elected a Fellow of the Sahitya Academy. The citation describes him as a poet whose integrated vision, lyrical intensity, and fine use of folk speech have added to the richness of Kannada poetry. Dr. Mokashi Punekar begins the interview now.
Good evening, Dr. Bendre, and congratulations. I need not say how proud and happy we all feel over the conferment of this much coveted award of Bharatiya Jnanapitha upon you.
I feel happy too, and I share this happiness and jubilation with the people of Karnataka and friends in Maharashtra. In fact, let me hasten to point out that my happiness has doubled because the honor itself has been shared, and I have been clubbed with Mr. Gopinath Mohanty, the distinguished writer of Orissa. When Dr. K.V. Puttappa, my worthy predecessor, also shared the honor with Dr. Umashankar Joshi of Gujarat, I had jokingly said to myself, we too are considered the two eyes of Kannada poetry. Two eyes, but one laksha, focus. No pleasure is complete unless it is shared. And let me share the jubilation with the people of this newly named state of Karnataka.
Well, your contribution to the enrichment of Kannada poetry has been acknowledged on all hands. I have no doubt Jnanapitha has once again added to its stature by this choice. When did you get to know of the news?
On the 7th evening, it seems the news was broadcast, and an army of newsmen from Hubli and Arwar rushed to my house and confronted me with the same question. To tell you a fact, I was not altogether surprised. I had suspected that something was brewing because there were hectic demands from Bharatiya Jnanapitha office for copies of Naku Tanti from the publishers here in Dharwad. Long ago, on the 1st of April, I myself had got a letter from Jnanapitha asking for my photograph then. I sent it to them, pointing out the significance of the date, April Fool's Day. But this time, the news came on the 8th April morning, a telegram from Jnanapitha.
Well, what were your first reactions?
I was happy, not so much because it was money as because it was Jnanapitha. But what struck me most was precisely on this day, 30 years ago, I was given a reception in Bombay under the presidentship of Chief Justice N.S. Lokur. I was reminded of Carl Jung's statement that synchronicity follows an astral pattern.
Dr. Bendre, you are one of the father figures of Kannada poetry and belong to that generation of poets who had to struggle hard to make Kannada language amenable to a new lyrical utterance. Looking to the present phase of poetry in Kannada, do you feel that your efforts then have borne the right fruit?
Oh yes, thank you. I do feel that our efforts have been richly rewarded. And Kannada today can articulate countless sensibility. But this wealth is the outcome of 1,000 years of history. When Pemper wrote 2 great epics, English language was not yet a vehicle of great poetic utterance, you know.
I agree with you. Now, turning to your award winning collection, Nakutanti, does it mark a new direction in your lyrical technique?
Naku Tanti is my 20th collection. Earlier, I had brought out my huge collection named Aralu Maralu, which contains more than 300 lyrics. Some of them were renderings from Sri Aurobindo. This collection I could do because I had a broken leg and was taking forced rest. If you compare my Yakshi of 1962 and Maryade of 1966 with Naku Tanti of 1964, sandwiched between these two, you can yourself see the difference. You can feel a special energy in Naku Tanti rising up.
Could it be said that you tried new intellectual explorations in Nakutanti without harm to your lyricism, of course?
I had an intuition of a new divine power entering the cosmos during this. The concluding poem is a lullaby sung to the new consciousness which is shaping itself in the world. It is titled Shishumarana Lali. My earliest lullaby was on child Karnataka, but this is the one on Shishumara, the cosmic child. That was Kannada Kandamana Ladi.
4 strings, that's how we translate Nakutanti. But 4 seems to be a kind of a persistent symbol in your verse. You began your career with the mantram Om Nal, which means again 4 as well as love. In Shishumarana Lali also, you speak of Chatvari Charu Charitre. You sing of 4 goddesses and 4 key mantrams Tat, Sat, Ad, Iti.
4 is a master number with Sri Aurobindo. In our tradition, we believe in 4 yugas, Krita, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. And after that comes back Krita again as a small 4-petaled bud. After 0 comes not 1, but 4. On 1 leaf is sleeping the divine baby, Vatapatra Shai, the initiator of the new 4 yugas.
And then this symbol of 4, which is the most complex and difficult symbol of all, seems to be complexer still as it appears in your title poem Nakutanti. What, may I ask, are the 4 strings you refer to?
I wrote the poem in a bus. We were on our way to Tadas, a village in this district. I told my companions, man's identity is fourfold. Nanu, Tanu, Ninu, Anu. Nu is sensibility. And No, Nompi are special forms of this sensibility, turned into agony. I cannot see myself, not even my face, yet I love it. This is Nanu, the I. You can see me as I am, but cannot participate in my sensibility. That is Ninu, you. Tanu is the received self, Datta, and Anu is the reclining self, the one that discovers itself by surrender. Swatma yatana vishrantam tam vande pratibham shubham. These 4 strings, when well tuned, can make the basic music out of which issue the other music of all particularity. Other pronouns, avanu, apan, aman, athan, all these pronouns were once the names of Egyptian gods, I imagine, in the remote past, and have survived as pronouns. Amman in Kannada, which means mother, was connected with Amenhotep, the Egyptian moon goddess.
That probably accounts for your pen name, Ambika Tanaya Datta. Am I right?
Yes, for me, all motherhood is a giver of strength. It is a Mahashakti. My mother, though a poor lady, made me what I am. This mother of Karnataka fed me on the bounty of her music and made me a poet. Marathi, my mother tongue, added to the wealth of my personal life. Mother India opened up the very treasure of her 5,000 years of culture. And Mataji of Aurobindo Ashram, who for me is the mother of my world consciousness, has stood as the medium of giving me energies and powers of the new world order shaping it.
Dr. Bendre, that brings me to the English poem which you wrote. You told me that you wrote it just before the Antardhana of Mataji. Could you recite it for the benefit of the English listeners, please?
Since you asked me to do it, I do it. O silence, silence, on whose tomb is enthroned the wisdom of lives yet to bloom. I turn to the right when light is in sight. The left turn may be fatally wrong. These words don't blush in the dawning hush as they release a deathless song. Oh, terrible beyond imagination, I cannot still pretend to tremble before a presence whose absence is scratched at random in cracking furrows of mocking darkness in the aching white. A power beyond and far above thee has traced a lodging in my upturned heart opened wide. A master who is mother of us all, loves to live in me, whose gracious moments are breaths of a being yet to be, whose becomings are zero spaces between the incredible ought and a probably not. I cannot pretend to tremble before thee. An assurance transformed into a faith, real and alive, whose realization is but a play of imagery in the formless time, and whose name responds to stirrings in plastic slime, comfort me, saying, Odi, you are in me, you are in me.
Dr. Bendre, if only you had tried out writing in English, possibly you would have been as great a lyric poet in English as you are in Kannada. Now, Dr. Bendre, how many lyrics have you written on a rough estimate? I ask this because I am amazed by the variety. No lyric is like another. The sonnets, the satires, the lyrics, and the poems in Vedic meter, all these things seem to work out a sort of chaotically cosmic sort of collection.
Maybe 1,000 Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasraksha, Sahasrapat. I consider my lyrics not so much as compositions. Each poem is an effort to connect Professor D.R. Bendre with Ambika Tane, the poor D.R. Bendre takes them down.
Well, you have been conducting research recently in prime numbers. How is the progress of this new work you have started?
Prime numbers and perfect numbers and Fibonacci numbers, the odd numbers and the even numbers are the poetry of the world. That is the Sankhya Shastra. Ekam Sankhancha Yogancha. It is the building material for poetry too. And from them issue the eternal Vedas. I am glad certain inner, deeper forces guide me and my system is making rapid progress.
Wish you all success in your new endeavor. Well, this effort, I hope it will take you higher and higher, and I hope that this award is going to be only a prelude.
You have just heard a special interview with Dr. D.R. Bendre, winner of Bharatiya Jnanapitha Award for 1973. The interviewer was Dr. Shankar Mukashi Punekar.
ಇದುವರೆಗೆ ವರಕವಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾನಪೀಠ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕ 50ನೇ ವರ್ಷದ ಸಂಭ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ದ.ರಾ. ಬೇಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರೊಂದಿಗೆ ಶಂಕರ್ ಮುಕಾಶಿ ಪುಣೇಕರ್ ಅವರು ನಡೆಸಿದ ಸಂದರ್ಶನವನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದಿರಿ. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಿ ಮಂಜುಳಾ ಪುರಾಣಿಕ್, ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೆ. ಶಿವರಾಜ್. ಇದು ಆಕಾಶವಾಣಿಯ ಧ್ವನಿ ಮುದ್ರಣ ಭಂಡಾರದಿಂದ ಆಯ್ದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ.